to our last broadcast of the 2024 contest cycle. I'm Rebecca Snyder, the Executive Director of the Maryland-Delaware DC Press Association, and we are delighted to share the first and second place winners in our contest categories. Today we'll focus on news and beat reporting, and we will share the nominees for our James S. Keat FOIA Award and the nominees for the Journalist Rookie of the Year. So let's get started by thanking our sponsors. Without our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to produce the events that we do and the contest caliber that we have. So we're very, very thankful. So we'd like to thank the A-Mark Foundation, Ad Messenger, Labrador, CSD Network, and MDDC Press Advertising Services. Please take a moment when you come to the conference on Friday to meet and talk with our sponsors. They will all be present. Now, let's get to those contest categories. Our first category is breaking news. In Division A, the staff of the Baltimore Banner wins second prize, and the staff of the Baltimore Sun wins first prize for their coverage of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. In Division B, Graham Cullen of the Frederick News Post wins second prize, and Madeline O'Neill, Jack Hogan, and Rachel Konensky of the Daily Record win first prize for Key Bridge collapse. In Division C, Sherry Greenfield of Carroll County Times wins second prize, and William Ford of Maryland Matters wins first prize for DOJ investigation. In Division D, Zoe Bell of Washington Jewish Week wins second prize, and Ginny Bixby of Bethesda Today wins first prize for Raucous Wet Dreams Pool Party. In Division E, the Washington Informer's Kayla Benjamin, Stacey Brown, and Hamil Harris wins second prize, and Fern Shen of Baltimore Brew wins first prize for Baltimore raises an encampment 2 days before City said it would. In Division F, Morgan Simpson of Baltimore Business Journal wins second prize, and her colleagues Melody Simmons and Joanna Sullivan win first prize for Key Bridge Collapse Cripples Port of Baltimore hits local businesses. In Division S, Maddie O'Neill surfaces again, this time winning first prize for owner of ship that destroyed Baltimore's Key Bridge asks to cap liability at $43 million. Our next category is general news story. In Division A, Dan Morse of the Washington Post wins second prize, and his colleague Emily Davies wins first prize for an article entitled, "She Spent 23 Years Asking Who Killed Her Mom, Then Her Phone Rang." In Division B, Tamala Baker of the Herald Mail wins second prize, and Kaylee Jacoby and Isabella Carrero Baptista of the Frederick News Post win first prize for ex-county lawmaker accused of wife abuse. In Division C, Willinda West, writing for the Baltimore Fishbowl, wins second prize, and William Ford of Maryland Matters wins first prize for new law extends Department of Juvenile Services reach to children as young as 10. In Division D, Zoe Bell of Washington Jewish Week wins second prize, and Elia Griffin of Bethesda Today wins first prize for After Historic Wrongs, Advocates Hope to Grow County's Black Homeownership. In Division E, Fern Shen of Baltimore Brew sweeps the category, winning first and second prizes. She won first place for a Baltimore sewage saga. In Division F, Tashi McQueen of the Afro wins second prize, and her colleague Kevin McNear wins first prize for On the Inside, Rehabilitation Programs Key in Successful Reentry and Anti-Recidivism Efforts. Congratulations to the Afro for sweeping the category. In General News Story Division S, Maddie O'Neill wins second prize, and Jacob Baumgart wins first place for Fading Strudel Vigil, remembers Odenton father, boxer, as Goofball with an infectious smile. Our next category is continuing coverage. In Division A, Ben Conark of the Baltimore Banner wins second prize, and the staff of the Washington Post wins first prize for Baltimore Bridge coverage. In Division B, Chris Flood of Cape Gazette wins second prize, and Bill Scholl of Cape Gazette, his colleague, wins first prize. Congratulations to the Cape Gazette for the sweep of this category. In Division C, William Ford of Maryland Matters wins second prize, and Rafael Alvarez of Baltimore Fishbowl wins first place for A City to Come. In Division D, Matt Hubbard of the Aegis wins first prize for coverage of Dion Guthrie case. And in Division E, Mark Reuter and Fern Shen of Baltimore Brew wins second prize, and Kirsten Hacker of the Howard County Times wins first place for Howard County Board of Education election. In Division F, Josh Shannon of the Newark Post wins second prize, and the Afro News takes first place with Ariana Griffith, Tashi McQueen, and Megan Sales writing about DPW death. In Division S, Brianna Hill and Carl Baker win second prize, and Jacob Baumgart and Deb Belt win first prize for their coverage of the Key Bridge collapse. Our next category is investigative reporting. In Division A, second place goes to Alyssa Zhu, Jessica Gallagher, and Nick Thiem of the Baltimore Banner. And first prize goes to Jessica Califati, Julie Sharper, and Justin Fenton of the Baltimore Banner for uncovering abuse at Greater Grace Church. In Division B, Luke Parker of the Capitol wins second prize, and Jack Hogan of the Daily Record wins first prize for A Place for Men of Means. In Division C, Lisa Harlow of the Catholic Review snags first place for more than 15 foreign priests could be forced to leave Archdiocese after recent visa law changes. And in Division D, Maggie Travado of the Star Democrat places second, and Timothy B. Wheeler places first for the Bay Journal in Living Shorelines gain ground around the Chesapeake Bay, but face hurdles. And in Division E, the Baltimore Brew sweeps this category with Mark Reuter and David Plimmer placing second, and Fern Shen placing first, with law firm hired by city after DPW worker's death represents companies seeking to weaken national workplace heat standard. And in Division F, Alexis Taylor and Aria Brent of the Afro wins second prize, and Josh Shannon of the Newark Post wins first prize for city worker details her allegations against Markham. And in Division S, Brianna Hill and Carl Baker win second prize, and Mark Hyman and Larry Deal place first for USS Sioux City Boondoggle. I'd also like to note that new for 2025, so get your investigative reporting hats on, we are announcing the creation of a new prize. The AMARC Foundation is underwriting a cash prize for the best investigative reporting in Maryland, Delaware, and the District of Columbia. There will be a prize for each jurisdiction, a cash prize of $5,000. To the winning reporter, and a little bit of a cash prize for the sponsoring organization. So those awards will run through the MDDC awards contest along with our other categories, but there's going to be one prize each for Delaware, Maryland, and the district. So happy investigations. The AMARC Foundation is a strong supporter and wants to highlight great investigative work. Thank you to the AMARC Foundation. We now turn our attention to the James S. Keat FOIA Award. The James S. Keat FOIA Award is bestowed on one organization across all divisions, and it honors a body of work which may include news stories, columns, and other materials that shows a news organization's efforts to gain access to public records, pursue open meetings, or address other FOI issues. The resources available to each entrant shall be considered by the judges. Let's meet our nominees. Our nominees are the staff of the Baltimore Banner and Xerxes Wilson from the News Journal. The Baltimore Banner was nominated for the FOIA Award by Richard Martin, the senior deputy manager. He writes in his nomination letter, "The pursuit of and fight for public records continued to drive some of the Baltimore Banner's most important investigative, enterprise, and accountability journalism in 2024. While our work covering issues within Baltimore City remains vital to the Banner's mission, our year was also marked by strong public records reporting in other areas, including Harford, Howard, Anne Arundel, and Baltimore counties, and statewide. Some highlights. Reporter Ben Conark relied heavily on the state's Public Information Act to access information on the abnormally high rate of suicide at the Harford County Detention Center. After initially requesting mortality records from every local jail in the state, he zeroed in on Harford County, which had a string of 5 suicides in a 3-year period, exceeding state and national averages. When Howard County reporter Jess Nocera and investigative reporter Brenna Smith noticed an anonymous website that seemed to become a growing ledger of grievances against Howard County Community College President Daria Willis, public records from HCC, Howard County Government, and the Maryland Higher Education Commission, along with dozens of interviews, helped the Banner provide a fuller accounting of what was going on at the college by providing additional transparency about what was happening behind the scenes. For months, state officials said they couldn't discuss anything about an incident in which a state police officer had used a taser on a child. Banner investigative reporter Justin Fenton obtained more than 100 pages of records from the internal investigative file, including the officer's claim that he fired 2 taser prongs into the boy by accident. In Baltimore City, the Banner used public records to shed light on problems between the city and a developer of an ambitious planned rejuvenation of a West Side neighborhood called Poppleton. Emails between the developer and city officials reveal that unpaid water bills inflamed an already strained relationship and contributed to the city's decision to end La Cité's future development rights in Poppleton. Reporter Lee Sanderland spent months in pursuit of a list of firearms the Baltimore Police Department had recovered over the years. Using a tip about firearm operability reports, Lee used additional records and reporting that produced a pair of important stories that ghost guns make up 20% of crime-related guns in Baltimore, and that the city now has a machine gun problem, as tiny devices that make a handgun fully automatic are appearing more frequently on city streets. The Banner's use of public documents and data was essential in our coverage of one of 2024's biggest stories, the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. We found numerous other instances of ships experiencing propulsion loss, as the Dolly did before it collided with the bridge. Finding that the bridge was one of 17,000 bridges in the country, about 3%, characterized as having a fracture-critical design, meaning if one portion sustained enough damage, the entire structure would collapse. They also tracked the disturbing trends of trucks carrying hazardous materials illegally traveling through Baltimore's 2 tunnels in the aftermath of the collapse, with data showing that authorities were doing little in the way of stepping up inspections of those vehicles. These are some of the examples that demonstrate the Banner's extensive use of public records to reveal important truths and hold the powerful accountable. Congratulations to the Baltimore Banner on their nomination for the James S. Keat FOIA Award. Our second nominee is Xerxes Wilson of the News Journal, who meticulously researched and unraveled police settlements through the haze of secrecy, which often obscures the true cost of police accountability in Delaware. He focused on the 6-figure settlement that ended a lawsuit filed after Dover police officers broke a woman's leg during a traffic stop in 2020. The lawsuit was filed by 28-year-old Sharon Caldwell in 2022 against the officers, as well as the former police chief and the city generally. The lawsuit recently closed. This was in December 2024, and public records show that the city, through its insurer, agreed to pay $200,000 to the woman to drop the legal claim. It's one of multiple lawsuit settlements tied to lawsuits claiming excessive force by Dover officers since 2024, and it is the largest such settlement by the city's police department since it paid $300,000 to a man who was kicked in the head by a former officer as he was surrendering. The public is unable to see police records, like dashcam video, to view exactly what happened that night and on other nights, and use the information to evaluate both the officers' conduct and whether they lied in official reports to justify serious felony charges against Caldwell. Most of the time, these settlements occur in secrecy, and the incidents that led to them are not discussed publicly and are just forgotten. That's partially due to the settlement including a confidentiality clause barring both sides from disparaging one another, a standard clause in police violence settlements in Delaware. Frequently, it serves as a self-imposed muzzle cited by police departments when asked questions about the cases they settle. And so, the public is left with a civil lawsuit that makes claims that were met with general denials by city officials, litigation that ended before any direct evidence became publicly available. Wilson untangled those civil settlements to shed light on police payouts in Dover. So Deborah Caldwell's case is indicative of the state of police transparency in Delaware, as well as how municipalities essentially treat police violence as a business expense. Litigation is costly for both sides, and settlements usually represent a business decision rather than a true reflection of the merits of any particular case, Dover Police Chief Thomas Johnson Jr. wrote in communications with the reporter. Caldwell's settlement amount will ultimately be paid out by the insurance company in an arrangement that is similar to that used by the state's largest municipal governments. Congratulations to Xerxes Wilson of the News Journal for his efforts to shed light on Dover police settlements in the state of Delaware. Congratulations. Our next category is local government. In Division A, the Washington Post sweeps that category with Rachel Weiner placing second and Jenny Gathright snagging first prize for a DC 911 Center run of coverage. In Division B, Kevin Conlon of Cape Gazette wins second prize, and Ian Round of the Daily Record wins first prize for the city's other opioids battle. In Division C, William Ford of Maryland Matters wins second prize, and Eliza Worthington of Baltimore Fishbowl wins first prize for Will a Landmark Lakefront Library actually be built in Columbia? In Division D, Ginny Bixby of Bethesda Today sweeps the category entirely, winning first and second prize. She wins first prize for Hidden History, how Montgomery County is recognizing local LGBTQ+ trailblazers. In Division E, Baltimore Brew sweeps the category with Fern Shen and David Plimmer placing second, and Fern, this time teaming with Mark Reuter, placing first for After Unsafe Conditions Are Flagged, a Worker Dies of the Heat. In Division F, Miki Abbott of the Afro places second, and Will Bontrager of Kent County News places first, with Tax Differential Study stalls out in discussion with County. And in Division S, Jacob Owens wins first prize for Emails. Rehoboth Board raised Tedder pay after losing prospects. Our next category is state government. In Division A, Xerxes Wilson of the News Journal wins second prize, and Sam Janish of the Baltimore Sun wins first prize for 1 year of Governor Westmore. In Division B, Chris Flood of Cape Gazette wins second prize, and Gabrielle Lewis of the Frederick News Post wins first prize for Some Concerned Bill on Backup Generators puts state oversight, climate goals at risk. In Division C, Sherry Greenfield of Carroll County Times wins second prize, and Brian Sears of Maryland Matters wins first prize for Davis vows to keep fundraising as treasurer. In Division D, Ginny Bixby of Bethesda Today wins first prize for proposed legislation would protect trans patients and doctors. And in Division E, Mark R. Smith wins second prize for Business Monthly, and Fern Shan of Baltimore Brew wins first prize for Months Before Legionella Finding, Officials Acknowledged a Lack of Potable Water. In Division F, Tashi McQueen of the Afro wins second prize, and Joe Ilardi of Baltimore Business Journal wins first place for what Maryland's pay transparency law means for employers and applicants. And in Division S, Carl Baker wins first prize for how Delaware will use a secret stash of unclaimed funds to build the Edgemore Port. Our next category is public service. In Division A, Isabel Hughes of the News Journal wins second prize, and in first, Alyssa Zhu, Jessica Gallagher, and Nick Thiem of the Baltimore Banner win first prize for Baltimore's overdose crisis. In Division B, Chris Flood of Cape Gazette wins second prize, and Ron MacArthur wins first prize for the Cape Gazette for his article, Cape Code Purple Answers Call to House Homeless. In Division C, Molly Fellon Spence of the Carroll County Times wins second prize, and Logan Anderson and the staff of Daily State News wins first prize for Seeds of Need. In Division E, Susan Kim wins first prize for Business Monthly for Your Right to Know is at the Heart of Democracy. And in Division F, Rebecca Jones of Seaford Star wins first prize for Breast Cancer Awareness. In Division S, Maddie O'Neill wins second prize, and Tom Ferraro wins first prize for Mounting Homelessness in America. We now come to our wild card category. This category changes each year to create a situation where publications can submit their most topical coverage. The Board of Directors chose pre-election coverage of the 2024 election as the wild card category for the 2024 contest. Let's meet our winners. In Division A, Jeff Barker and Annie Jenneman of the Baltimore Sun wins second prize, and the entire staff of the Baltimore Sun wins first prize for the 2024 voter guide. In Division B, Dwight A. Weingarten of the Herald Mail wins second prize, and members of the staff of the Frederick News Post, Ryan Marshall, Gabrielle Lewis, Esther Francis, and Kaylee Jacoby win first prize for advanced coverage of elections. In Division C, Adam DeRose of Baltimore Fishbowl wins second prize, and Josh Kurtz of Maryland Matters brings home first place with one candidate, two campaigns. In Division D, Ashlyn Campbell of Bethesda Today wins second prize, and her colleague, Ginny Bixby, brings home first prize for Let's Be Normal. In Division E, the Baltimore Brew sweeps the category with Fern Chen placing second, and also in first, this time teaming with Mark Reuter, they win for drilling down on the mayor's race and question F. In Division F, the Laurel Star staff wins second prize, and the staff of Capital News Service win first place for School Board Voter Guide. And in Division S, Jake Owens of Spotlight Delaware wins first prize for Spotlight Delaware. Our next category is News-Driven Multimedia Storytelling. In Division A, the Washington Post sweeps the category with Marissa Atai and Danny Ningen of the Washington Post winning second prize, and the staff of the Post winning first prize for Baltimore Key Bridge collapsed in under 40 seconds. In Division C, Olivia Manzola of the Daily Times wins second place, and George P. Matzik Jr. and Kevin J. Parks win first place for the Catholic Review for more than 1,500 venerate skull of St. Thomas Aquinas during Baltimore visit. In Division F, Dylan Schulman of the Capital News Service wins first prize for How Blue is Maryland. Our next category is business reporting. In Division A, Lorraine Mirabella of the Baltimore Sun wins first prize, and Giacomo Bologna of the Baltimore Banner wins first prize for why Baltimore chose an untested developer for its huge, now failed, Poppleton project. In Division B, Ana Lucia Murillo of Washington Business Journal places second, and her colleague, Daniel Cernovich of Washington Business Journal, places first with War of the Wages. In Division C, Nathan McConarty of Baltimore Fishbowl places second, and Josh Kurtz of Maryland Matters places first with The Strange Journey of Senate Bill 1. In Division D, Jane Bellmeyer of the Cecil Whig places second, and Brennan Stewart of the Aegis places first, with Harvard small businesses worry about governor's support of alcohol sales in grocery stores. In Division E, Katie Tabling of Delaware Business Times places second, and Fern Shen of Baltimore Brew places first for Atlas Restaurant Group's plan for a new bar on Thames Street stirs anger and fear. In Division F, Morgan Simpson of the Baltimore Business Journal places second, and Demetrius Dillard of the Avenue News places first for Ground Zero. Congratulations. And in Division S, Carl Baker wins first prize for a $100 million error will lead to an energy price spike for Southern Delaware. Our next category is medical or science reporting. In Division A, the Washington Post's Jenna Portnoy places second, and Meredith Cohen and Brenda Wintrode of the Baltimore Banner place first for Maryland as a safe haven for abortion care. In Division B, Gabrielle Lewis of the Frederick News Post places second, and Sarah Gilgore of Washington Business Journal places first for Innova's Long Game. In Division C, Danielle Brown of Maryland Matters places second, and George P. Matzik Jr. of the Catholic Review wins first prize for Hopkins Medical Sculptor Transforms Lives, Restores Hopes with Facial Prosthesis. In Division D, Jillian Diamond of the Baltimore Jewish Times places second, and Braden Hamlin of Washington Jewish Week places first, with Maryland Biotech Company partners with Hadassah to fight superbugs. In Division E, Lindawi Vilakazi places second for the Washington Informer, and Susan Kim of Business Monthly wins first prize with Ink with Empathy. In Division F, Helen Bazuna of the Afro places second, and Matt Hook of the Baltimore Business Journal wins first prize for Baltimore Company Works to Save Italian Olive Oil Industry. In Division S, Jose Ignacio Castaneda Perez sweeps the category, placing both first and second. He wins first prize for Hospital Boards Lack the Diversity of Delaware. Our next category is education reporting. In Division A, Liz Bowie and Dylan Siegelbaum of the Baltimore Banner place second, and Crystal Griffin of the News Journal places first for The Taliban Came Like Overnight. In Division B, Dwight A. Weingarten of the Herald Mail places second, and Sasha Allen places first for the Herald Mail. Sasha was an intern through the MDDC program at the Herald Mail in 2024. Congratulations. In Division C, David Nitkin of Baltimore Fishbowl wins second prize, and William Ford of Maryland Matters places first. And in Division D, Matt Hubbard places second for the Aegis, and Ashlyn Campbell of Bethesda Today wins first prize for Unplugged. In Division E, Mark R. Smith of Business Monthly wins second prize, and Sam P.K. Collins of the Washington Informer wins first prize for DCPS uses Connected Schools model to tackle homelessness. And in Division F, Matt Hook of the Baltimore Business Journal places second, and the staff of the Capitol News Service Wire wins first prize for Behind the Blueprint. In Division S, Julia Marola places second, and Jake Owens places first for Could School Referenda Be Voted Out in Delaware? Our next category, we'll take a pause from our regular categories to honor the Editorial Rookie of the Year nominees. This is an award that's given to one rookie every year, and it honors a new journalist with less than 18 months experience in the field. The nomination package includes a letter from the supervising editor as well as clips of the reporter's work. Let's meet our nominees. And just a fun aside, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, you will also note that the 5 Dubs podcast, that's FIVE-DUBS.com, our 5 Dubs podcast features the Editorial Rookie of the Year nominees in the episode that was just released today. So that is May 7th. So you can listen to this amazing 6-person nominee class, all women, and let's hear what their editors had to say about them. So we'll start with Lauren Hines Acosta. Laura Lutz, the editor of the Bay Journal, writes this about Lauren. Lauren joined the Chesapeake Bay Journal staff in January 2024 as a recent graduate of the University of Missouri, where she earned a bachelor's degree in both journalism and science. As an environmental news organization, we knew this was a great combination. And among other factors that led her to being hired, she excels at identifying and asking meaningful questions. Lauren hit the ground running, delving into a huge amount of general research into environmental issues, organizations, and policies in the Chesapeake Bay region. Lauren has strong writing skills and a sharp mind, quickly homing in on the tough questions and complications of a given context. She has visual, audio, and production skills too, producing photographs and videos to support her work and that of others. She has been successful at seizing short, contained topics for news and features and writing them quickly. But she has also been successful at writing longer, in-depth pieces and recognizing when a story crosses over into a topic that needs more time and care. Lauren has produced more than 50 articles to date, many of which tackle science and policies with technical and legal nuances. She produced 2 short videos to accompany articles and 1 video to introduce and highlight the work of the Bay Journal on social media. Lauren has also made a significant contribution to coverage of environmental issues involving Native communities in the region. She is meticulously organized, a fervent fact-checker, and readily seeks advice from senior staff. She welcomes edits because she wants to understand why they were made and learn from them. Laura Lutz is especially knowledgeable about Lauren's eagerness to try new things and incredibly well-researched on the way she approaches all of her work, including jobs that are new to her. This integrity has made an impression on people she interviews, too. For example, Lauren got permission to tour the Manhattan processing plant in Virginia, which is very cautious about media contact. As a result, she was the first Bay Journal reporter to visit inside the plant and was even accompanied by a photographer. Congratulations on your nomination, Lauren. Our next nominee is Zoe Bell of Washington Jewish Week. Erin Trudler, the editor of the Mid-Atlantic Media and the Washington Jewish Week, writes that Joey joined in June of 2024 in her first full-time position since graduating from American University in May of 2024. She is a star, he writes. With an innate sense of how to successfully seek out substantive story ideas and a well-honed writing skill that one might see from a seasoned reporter with years of experience, Zoe's addition to Washington Jewish Week has greatly enhanced the local content and taken our publication to the next level. She is a highly talented and motivated staff writer who takes initiative and who not only meets our expectation, but regularly exceeds them. She has a degree of versatility that is unique, which enables her to skillfully and successfully cover an array of complex and sensitive issues pertaining to the DMV Jewish community and beyond, whether it be the after effects of the October 7th attacks, anti-Semitism, and much more. Zoe consistently performs at a high level and exhibits a sense of maturity and professionalism well beyond her years. She is a true journalist who effortlessly connects with sources and whose positivity and gregarious nature are evident to anyone that has the pleasure of interacting with her. Her writing brings stories to life and provides our readers with clear and unadulterated views of the subjects that she writes about. Congratulations to Zoe Bell on her nomination. Our next nominee is Bridget Byrne, writing for the Capitol. Kamal Hai, the editor-in-chief of the Capitol Gazette, writes that Bridget joined the Capitol Gazette as an intern in the summer of 2024, and she knew what she wanted to cover: accountability in government. During the second month of her internship, she pitched a story about a high school student who was killed in a crash at a light rail crossing 2 years earlier. He died, she said, because the warning lights at the intersection were malfunctioning. And despite his 2022 death and the train operator pleading guilty in June 2024, the lights were still not working. As part of her reporting, she went to the intersection and timed the lights. As she wrote in her story, On July 10th and 11th, a Capital Gazette reporter timed how long trains at the North Linthicum station waited before going through the intersection after the lights were flashing. 6 out of 35 trains, or 17%, stopped for 30 seconds. Her determination and willingness to do what it takes to land a story contributed to the decision to hire her. Since then, she has only continued to thrive. Bridget has contributed to some of the Capital Gazette's biggest stories, including those about a doctor accused of stabbing his wife to death and how trans people became a dominant topic during a recent school board election. She also has written quirky one-offs that capture the spirit of the region, such as what life was like on a turkey farm in the months before Thanksgiving. Congratulations to Bridget Byrne. Our next honoree or nominee is Kirsten Hacker, who writes for the Howard County Times. Molly Fellin-Spence, the content editor, writes that Kirsten has made herself an indispensable member of their team since joining as an intern in June 2024. Kirsten is energetic, talented, and passionate about it being a reporter. She did such an outstanding job as a summer intern that she was hired full-time as a reporter with the Howard County Times in August. Since then, she has worked diligently to learn her new beat, developing and meeting with sources, researching issues important to readers, and establishing herself as a top reporter in the region in a short period of time. She is versatile and agile, able to toggle between stories as disparate as dissecting complicated issues in the school system's proposed budget and understanding zoning laws governing whether a family can keep a beloved racetrack built on farmland for their young son. Kirsten is wonderful to work with and to coach as a new reporter. She takes notes, makes changes, and improves every day. She excels at getting to the heart of the news quickly and creating stories that are interesting to read and get to the point about why readers care about an issue. She is comfortable talking to anyone, from community leaders to small children, and isn't afraid to walk into an unfamiliar setting and start asking important questions. Congratulations, Kirsten, on your nomination. Chaley Jacoby is nominated from the Frederick News Post. Andy Schatz, the editor there, writes that Chaley was hired at the end of June 2023 to cover Frederick County government, state government, and politics. Besides developing a strong ownership of her beat, she has also added another one, court coverage. On that beat, Chaley took over one of the biggest stories the News Post has covered in many years, a federal prosecution of the county sheriff and a local gun business owner, alleging that they conspired to evade federal law governing machine guns. Chaley filed excellent stories for 6 days from the trial in federal court. The gun business owner was acquitted. The charges against the sheriff were dropped a short time later. Additionally, she has filled in often and developed additional expertise by reporting on a hot issue in Frederick County, data centers and power lines. Chaley has developed good sources, is versatile, and is a strong, clear writer. We often turn to her to take on many of our most important stories. Congratulations on your nomination, Chaley. Our final nominee is Gabrielle Lewis, also of the Frederick News Post. Andy Schatz, who's the editor there, writes to say that Gabrielle was hired in June 2023 to cover health, the environment, and Fort Detrick, which is a sprawling U.S. Army base with many federal government operations. Since then, she's added nonprofits to her beat, giving her even more to keep track of. Aside from those beats, she's become an expert on data centers and power lines through her comprehensive coverage of multiple major projects in the Frederick area. She excels at tackling complicated issues and reporting on them fully. She is especially interested in, and good at, telling the stories of the underserved classes in society, but she'll dive into whatever she is asked to do. She briefly filled in as our education beat reporter when that position became vacant. Her writing is clean, clear, and careful. Congratulations to Gabrielle on your nomination. We'll find out who the Editorial Rookie of the Year is on Friday, live at the awards celebration. In the meantime, tune into our podcast to learn more about our nominees. And now back to our categories. Environmental reporting is our next category. And in Division A, Adam Willis, Daniel Zawadny, and Ramsey Archibald win second prize for the Baltimore Banner, and Maddie Gelman, Their colleague wins first prize for Purdue's contamination sparks fear in town where company once felt like home. In Division B, Chris Flood of Cape Gazette wins second prize, and Cameron Adams and Gabrielle Lewis of the Frederick News Post win first prize for coliform E. coli found in Liberty Town wells. In Division C, Marcus Dieterle of Baltimore Fishbowl wins second prize, and Tulu Talabi of Baltimore Fishbowl, his colleague, wins first prize for Ken Maryland Help Save Baltimore's Leakin Park. In Division D, Carl Blankenship of Bay Journal wins second prize, and his colleague Jeremy Cox snags first prize for concerns rise over PFAS exposure near Maryland Purdue plant. In Division E, Baltimore Brew sweeps the category. Fern Shen takes second place solo, and then she teams with Mark Reuter and Peter Schaefer for first prize for Sewage Volcanoes Still, despite 2002 consent decree. In Division F, Joe Ilardi of Baltimore Business Journal places second, and the Capital News Service of Andrea Duran, Danaray Balanchandar, and Alicia Camacho place first for No Grass, No Crabs. And in Division S, Michael Smith wins second prize, and Nick Stonecipher wins first place for My Bay is Dying. Our next category is arts and entertainment reporting. In Division A, Mary Carol McCauley of the Baltimore Sun places second, and Jean Marabella snags first prize for the Baltimore Sun for Who Was the Real Lady in the Lake. In Division B, Chris Flood of Cape Gazette wins second prize, and Aaron Jones of Frederick News Post wins first prize for Brent on Broadway. In Division C, Eliza Worthington places both first and second for the Baltimore Fishbowl and sweeps the category. Congratulations! And in Division D, Lisa Traeger of Washington Jewish Week wins second prize, and Ginny Bixby of Bethesda Today places first with Saying Goodbye to Downtown Silver Springs Record Exchange. In Division E, Brenda Seiler of Washington Informer places second, and her colleague Jada Ingleton places first. In Division F, Makey Abbott of the Afro places second, and Will Bontrager of Kent County News places first, with Pirates and Wenches Festival raids Rock Hall. Our next category is religion reporting. In Division A, Alex Mann of the Baltimore Sun places second, and Jessica Califati, Julie Sharper, and Justin Fenton of the Baltimore Banner place first with Uncovering Abuse at Greater Grace Church. In Division B, Gabrielle Lewis of the Frederick News Post places first with critics take issue with Wye Oak Bar being in front of altar of former school chapel. In Division C, George P. Matzik Jr. of the Catholic Review places second, and Rafael Alvarez of Baltimore Fishbowl wins first prize for Once Upon a Time When Baltimore Was Catholic. In Division D, Maggie Travato of the Star Democrat places second, and Zoe Bell and Braden Hamlin of Washington Jewish Week place first for Last Word Profiles. In Division E, Fern Shen of Baltimore Brew places second, and Karen McGill of Coastal Point wins first prize for her article, Community Lutheran, Seeing Fast Growth. In Division F, Melody Simmons of the Baltimore Business Journal places second, and Ariana Griffin and Tashi McQueen of the Afro win first prize for At the Intersection of Politics and Faith. In Division S, Brianna Hill wins second prize, and Suzanne Pollock wins first prize for Jewish students tell legislators that anti-Semitic incidents make them feel unsafe, unwelcome. Our next category is growth and land use reporting. In Division A, Matthew Korfage of the News Journal wins second prize, and the staff of the Baltimore Banner win first place for Harbor Place series. In Division B, Cameron Adams of the Frederick News Post wins second prize, and Dan Brendel of the Washington Business Journal wins first prize for placemaking in peril. In Division C, David Nitkin wins second prize for Baltimore Fishbowl, and his colleague Eliza Worthington places first for Historic Buildings Come Down Brick by Brick in Old Ellicott City. In Division D, Mike Reed of Southern Maryland News wins second prize, and Timothy B. Wheeler of the Bay Journal wins first place for Proposed Development Tests Maryland's Limits to Waterfront Land Use. In Division E, Baltimore Brew is sweeping this category with Mark Reuter winning second prize and his colleague Fern Shen placing first for Good News. In Division F, Melody Simmons comes to sweep the category, placing second and first. Her first prize entry was Small Harford County Town Sees Wave of Growth. And in Division S, Jacob Bumgart wins second prize and Nick Stone-Cipher wins first place for Delaware has considered 25,000 homes since 2021. Our next category is public notice reporting. In Division F, Joe Ilardi of Baltimore Business Journal wins second prize and his colleague Matt Hook wins first prize for Maryland Cannabis Company fined for selling product fished out of dumpster. Thank you. And that's the end of all of our categories and first and second place awards. Thank you for joining with me to celebrate our winners, and congratulations to all the winners of our news and beat reporting categories, and congratulations to our nominees for the FOIA Award and the Editorial Rookie of the Year. Thank you again to our 2024 contest sponsors, the A-Mark Foundation, Ad Messenger, Labrador, and CSC Network, as well as the MDDC Press Advertising Services. We wouldn't be able to do our program without you, and we appreciate your support. Please tune in and come to our conference on Friday to learn the winners of our Best in Show and the organization-wide winners. It's good to see you, and we hope to see you again soon.